Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Leftover Bag. As you might have guessed, I'm not too thrilled about this one. Remember how big an impact My Little Pony had recent years, and also in the past? And do I even need to mention Care Bears? Well, Dick Entertainment, my good old childhood molesters, thought, hey, there's money in this, let's make our own, and thus spawned the Get Along Gang.
Get Along Gang spawned sometime around 1984, and without a doubt heavily influenced by Care Bears and My Little Pony, and other similar shows intended for younger audiences. Although it is rather funny, this show in particular has been criticized for violence and to glorify group harmony over individualism.
Yeah, being criticized for violence and communism. It only lasted one season, 26 episodes to be exact.
Before we take a look at the episode, it might be worth to mention the different characters and actors. We got Wilma Sheep voiced by Jerry G. Train, who voiced in All-Star Rescue and more. Zipper the Cat voiced by Robbie Lee, no more is known about that guy. Porchy Porcupine voiced by Sherry Lynn, who has voiced the English version of various animes such as Hack as well as Western animation. Montgomery Moose voiced by Sparky Marcus, who voiced Richie Rich in the cartoon show. Bingo Beaver voiced by Scott Menville, who's probably most famous for his role in Full House. Breaker Turtle voiced by Frank Welker, who has been the voice of Fred Jonas of the Scooby-Doo show for decades, with the exception of a pup named Scooby-Doo. And last but not least, we got Dottie Dog voiced by Bettina Bush, who voiced Megan in My Little Pony.
Talk about being a traitor, huh? Well, that was the actors. Let's begin the episode.
The first thing you'll notice is the sudden urge to rip off both your ears because of that horrific theme song.
It's just so sappy, happy-go-lucky that you just want to puke.
Well, after that monstrosity, the episode Zipper's Millions begins with the turtle coming with airmail.
Must be airmail.
Yeah, the very first joke in the episode, a turtle delivering airmail. How peculiar. Oh, and by the way, that turtle, not shown in the rest of the episode.
In the letter, it's just that Zipper is about to inherit $100,000.
It says I've inherited $100,000.
More than one thing is wrong with this scene. First off, the episode is called Zipper's Millions, and he only inherits like $100,000. Second, a lawyer sends a letter about such an urgent matter to a child? Oh, and also only one day to get them. Oh yeah, and also this important letter is given to a complete stranger. Let's move on.
Objection! But he has to meet the lawyer at the office before sundown to get them. The gang minus Breaker the Turtle now joins Zipper in the Get Along Gang caboose and journeys to meet the lawyer. Really a nice setup for young children, don't you think?
Montgomery Moose and the three girls operates the vehicle. I have to admit, for an 80s Dick Entertainment show to actually make the girls participate rather than just giggle and look pretty, I might say that's actually nice to see.
So the gang is on their merry way across the train tracks. You know, I have more questions about this gang, but let's move on. They come across an old man who they ask for direction.
We're sorry, sir. Could you tell us which way is Pine Corners?
Battle way!
Yeah, and if we're not there by noon, you lose $100,000 we just inherited. I meant you, of course, Zipper, old buddy, old pal.
Because Zipper's business is apparently everybody's business.
Just forget that last part, sir.
Moving on, they follow the train tracks until a shady-looking person tries to cross them with a huge builder.
And that is a bit mean, I might say.
That was mighty close.
Yeah, because mighty close and Buddy Old Pal was still used in the 80s. Seriously, were they? I mean, they sound so 60s. Never mind.
The gang now has to travel on foot and of course it's through the woods.
Anybody know where we are?
And we all know what that means. They get kidnapped.
Oh, right on cue. We continue this a bit until the beaver is captured in the most idiotic way.
Right behind you. Make that right above you.
I don't know, maybe he could have yelled or something.
Seriously, just look at this doofus. He haven't even realized he's being captured.
I mean, how few brain cells can you even operate on?
Moving on, we then cut to a shady looking house on the outskirts of town. Here, the gang is being put in a bag.
Time for a game of disappearing bears.
They escape the bag and tries to get out. Well, a short notice is the music gets extremely annoying after a while, since they only use like 2 or 3 different song tracks. Sort of like Ghostbusters the game. You sing along just fine at the beginning, but after, I don't know, an hour or so.
If you are not an extreme fan like me who can sing along to that song all day long,
You'll start to pinch out your ears. But this is worse though. These songs aren't good. Well, Montgomery and Zipper tries to follow the last kidnapping, which of course leads them to this house.
Who are you? My name is Miss Tabby. Miss Tabby. I'm your cousin Zipper.
really? You never seen or heard about your own cousin? And also, isn't she a bit too old to be his cousin? I mean, she's an old woman and he's just a child. Shouldn't she be like the grandmother's sister or something? You know, never mind. The more I'll dig into it, the longer it'll take.
They have a discussion of what they are doing there, which leads to the reveal that it was all done by Miss Tapsy.
My own cousin, you lowdown.
Yeah, you see, it's her house. Therefore, it has to be her.
While they do that, the rest of the gang is trying to break free.
I want to break free.
Something like that, I guess.
But a giant builder is blocking the door, and of course they removes it, but...
Look out! Oh no!
Yeah, that's not very get-alongy.
So Zipper the Cat and Montgomery Moose figures out the most implausible plan to help them get out.
They're safe!
My house!
Yes, lady, that is also important. But life has taught me, think of the living first, otherwise people think you're a heartless asshole. All I said was my ice cream got ruined. Who cares about little Timmy's stupid truck ruining my perfect ice cream?
We now move on to the big reveal. It turns out the townspeople did everything in order to, get this, give Miss Tapsy the money.
We've got to have money.
So, why did the townspeople act the way they did and even attempt murder, you might ask?
You're the town's favorite citizen, Miss Tabby.
Oh, wait a minute. She is the most beloved citizen? And yet, she is practically living in dirt. Yeah, I know that is technically possible, but they tried to kill the fucking house. I mean, children.
Zipper sees that Tapsy needs the money more than him and therefore gives them to her.
Zipper just gave up our fortune.
That doesn't matter.
As a raging capsulist, I have to say, bullshit!
Who cares about getting along? Who cares about friends? It's 100 fucking grand, man.
Let me rephrase that. Friends and getting along is important, sure, but how many children would just mindlessly giving up $100,000 to somebody they just met? Actually, quite a lot. Kids are stupid.
Okay, this show is, well, too sappy, too fluffy, and too happy-go-lucky for my taste. Give me Transformers any day, man. It's clear to see why it only had 1 season. The music gets frustratingly annoying after a while. The whole friendship and getting along theme is just misplaced. How many times did the cheerleader speak to the bookworm or nerdy guy? How many times did Mr. Perfect get along with the sport freak? Sure, it's a nice message to teach children. But really, I remember having to hide from bullies and trying to sneak away from PE just because the sport jocks wouldn't let me be. The art style feels like something from the mid-70s, and the animation reminds me of early Scooby-Doo, which was a decade before this. There's no doubt that this was a cheap cash-in on the Care Bears and My Little Pony wave. Thank you, Dig Entertainment. You'll never let me down.
So that was Get Along Gang. A gang you should not join. Or any other gang, really. I mean, they do shady stuff. I'm the Angrynator, terminating bad movies for your entertainment.
You take the money and buy yourself a home.